Hi. So I've been going to do this for a while. I've been going to share my testimony, and I don't have anything planned out. I'm just got a little bit of time, so I thought I would do it. Because I've been putting it off way too long. I first want to say that had I not got saved when I did, I honestly believe with my whole heart that I would be dead and I would be in hell right now. I was about 17 years old, and I know from maybe the time when I was 15 until I was 18, those were some really hard years in my life. And so around this, I was 17 years old, and I was struggling. I really just thought what I needed was a boyfriend, or just be accepted by my friends, and the same things that are important to everybody when they're a teenager, I guess. And those things are important, to be loved, but I tried so many different things, to fulfill that void that I had in me. I felt like, maybe if I had a boy to love me, or and then I would do things that I thought would maybe make them accept me more. I was overweight always. I think I was born that way. And so I was very self-conscious about that. And like I said, I was just struggling, but I was praying. My parents taught me to pray, and I'm so thankful that they did. And I was praying. A lot of times I'd be driving around town in my car, and I just knew there was more. It's like it was just out of my reach, and I knew there was something missing in me. I knew that I don't know. I just knew that there was something missing. So I tried different things. I tried drinking and going to parties, and I tried marijuana. I tried different things, and but I would always end up still feeling that void. And my friend Angie had started going to church, and I had some other friends that had started going out to Teaberry to church. And now let me tell you this side note: I was raised going to the Methodist church in town in Maderryville, and my mom even taught Sunday school. But probably around the time I was maybe 8, we started camping actually on the weekends when I was about 6 years old. So my mom and dad had quit going to church there for whatever their reasons were. They got their feelings hurt, and so they started camping on the weekends, and we didn't have an opportunity to go to church at that point. So I was very young, but when I was 8, I had started going to a thing called the Good News Club. And there was a lady there in town and that had this in her home, and she told us about getting saved and talked to us about the Lord. And I remember I was 8 years old, and she asked, do you want to be saved? If you want to be saved, raise your hand. And of course, I was 8 years old, I raised my hand. Yeah, I want to be saved. And I didn't really understand what that meant. But I had a respect for God and for the Bible, for his word. I just didn't understand it. I didn't know his word. So, like I said, we quit going, and probably in my teenage years, early, maybe even preteen years, my mom and some of the people at the lake that we camped in, they got together and they made this little church, and they had a little congregation of people, and we would sing hymns, and there was a preacher actually that camped down there too. And at Lake Secret, down between Logansport and Monticello, there's a little town called Lake Secret, and it's just centered around this lake. And we camped there every weekend faithfully. My dad built the most wonderful campsite, and we used to go roller skating at night there in Logansport. And growing up, those were great memories. But we would have church on Sunday in a pavilion. It was all open, and I remember he brought this picture to church one Sunday, and it showed like I guess maybe the title of it was The End of Time. I don't really remember, but I just remember him talking about when the Lord come back, that, planes would crash and different things were going to happen. And he talked about, where you would spend eternity. And maybe that was my first real time of conviction. And I didn't really understand it all, but I knew that I wanted to be baptized at that point in my life. I'm going to guess and say maybe I was 11 or 12. I'm not sure how old I was, but I talked to my mom about it. And she talked to the preacher. And then, we talked about it, and we set a date for me to get baptized in the lake. And I just chickened out. I guess Satan was working, too, and I didn't understand his devices. But I will never forget how I felt. So, I don't know, we quit camping around, I was probably about 16. My interests went in different directions. Getting my driver's license and driving and getting a car and hanging out with my friends. And, that was what was cool. And but like I said, when I was 17, I had a couple different people invite me to a church just outside of our town, and I didn't even know it was there. I think it was Rod Dickinson, actually, that invited me out there. And at that time, there was a bunch of young people coming. And the church was just a basement at that time. And so I just remember hearing the preaching. And it was like I heard preaching for the first time. I'd never heard preaching like this. I'd never been in a church where they raised their hands or testified or shouted. And the preaching was convicting. It was fiery. And it was all new to me. But there was just something about it, and I felt this drawing. And I don't remember the first time I went to the altar, but I remember the preaching, and just wanting to be a Christian. I wanted to be. I enjoyed going to church, and even though this was a whole new experience for me, for the first time in my life, I knew, I guess I realized, there's things that I was doing wrong, but I didn't realize that if I died like that I would go to hell. And hell became real to me just like that. And it was a game changer. That's all I could think about, and I did not want to go to hell. I didn't understand everything, but I knew I didn't want to go to hell, and it scared me. It did. And like I said, I was, at that time in my life, I was still going to parties, still hanging out with my friends, and but little by little, I just, knew that I needed to, stop drinking, and, but I don't know, it's like I had one foot in both worlds, But there came a night that I went to my last party. I went, and I remember where it was. I remember some of the people that were there. And I remember two of my friends were with me. And Sean was one of them. We went outside, and Darlene was the other friend that I had at that time in that moment. And I went outside, and I was talking to both of them. And I remember the moon was full, and the Lord was really dealing with me. And I had some other friends, some that were Christians and some that weren't, but this is where I was that night. And it was out at Danny's, and there was a big pond and the moon full, and I just knew, and God spoke to me that night, and he told me, you need to give me your whole heart. And that's what I wanted. I made my choice right then and there. And I told them both, my two friends that were there hanging out with me that night, I said, I'm going to church tomorrow, and I'm dedicating my life to that, And I invited them to come, and I'm pretty sure, I know Sean came, but I don't remember if Darlene came or not. I can't remember. She would maybe remember that, but I went to church, and that night was Christmas Eve, and that day was Christmas morning. And I went to church, and I went to the altar that day, and I gave God my whole heart, and people come around and fellowship with me, and I told them, because I had been there, went to the altar before, and like I said, I wanted it, but I didn't commit fully to it until that moment. And boy, am I so, so thankful that I did. And I'm so thankful that God had mercy on me, and he drew me to him. And in that moment, that void that I had, it was gone. And I was so excited, and it was just like he poured love into me. He put a fulfillment in me that nothing else in this world, no person, no amount of money, no amount of anything. It was him, and he filled me up. And I did. I was excited, and I tried to get, some of my friends to go to church with me. And of course, they were like, "You're crazy," and everything. And I remember one night, or one day, I went out to another one of my friends and was inviting them to church. And when I pulled in, I said, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" There was a bunch of people standing outside, and one of them said, "Oh, we're just reading our Bible," And I knew they were just making fun of me, but it's funny because it was Rick that said that to me, and he is saved now, and he's a preacher, so I just think that's funny. But anyways, I still just have such a burden for all those people that I was friends with then, because at that time in my life, I got away from that. I just got away from the parties, and I quit going around those same people, because I needed to get some strength, and I really did feel a lot like a loner for a while. But as I got to know other people in the church, and started going to church regularly, and going to Sunday school, and learning about God and his word, and I just that was my life, from then on. And I have no regrets about that. I wish I would have understood, maybe been taught more about discipleship, and a lot of things that I just wish I could have learned at a younger age. But I'm so thankful that God saved me. And the point of this is to share my testimony, and I love him so much. I've been saved over 30 years now, and he's been my best friend. He's been so faithful to me. He's been there in my darkest times when I had no one. And I married Todd when I was just 25 years old, and I'm so thankful that God brought Todd into my life. He is a wonderful husband, and he's a wonderful Christian man, and he's a genuine Christian man. And that's what I prayed for. I wanted to have a Christian home, and man, the Lord has so blessed me. And I lost a brother to cancer almost 14 years ago now, and that was one of the hardest things that I ever faced. But God was there with me in my darkest times, like I said. And my dad passed away this year, and when I think about the troubles and trials that I've had in this life, not having kids of my own, and never gonna hear anybody call me mommy. I'm never gonna hear anybody call me grandma, and that was a hard thing. But God gave me peace. He gave me just an amazing peace about it. And to walk with him daily, and to have him by my side, I just wouldn't want to live one day without him. I know my mom, she's lost her husband, and a lot of people have went through that, lost a spouse, and I would not, I wouldn't want to lose Todd for anything. I love him so much, and he is my best friend, and he's, like I said, a great husband and a great friend. But the Lord is the only one that can fill that void. Todd doesn't fill that for me. He's there for me, and he does what he can, but he can't fix everything. He's just human. But God, the Lord Jesus Christ, he is my best friend, and I can talk to him about anything and everything. And if you don't have him in your life, you're missing so much. He can bless you. He can be there for you. He can help you with anything, everything that you face. And the answers are there in God's word. And I'm so thankful for the preachers that preach his word and break it down so that I can understand it, because I could never do it all on my own. I can read something, and it's like, okay, yeah. But then when I hear it preached, it just comes alive, and it's real, and it's relevant, and it's present help in this time. We need that so much. There are so many things going on nowadays, so much sickness and sadness and death and just horrible things. I've got friends that have had a child murdered. I've watched people walk through trials that I can't even fathom. And but God has sustained them, and only He could do that. So no matter what you face, no matter what you're facing right now, no matter what, He is faithful, and He can help you, and He can hold you up. He can give you strength. He can provide every need that you have. He can provide. And we don't always understand why God allows things that He does, but He sees the bigger picture. And I don't know, I'm just so thankful for Him, and I want all my people to have Him in their lives, because I feel like life is so much better and richer because of Jesus Christ and what He did for us. It's just amazes me. I can't imagine, He gave His life for us. And so many years I just took that for granted and didn't even understand it, but He knew. And He done it for us because He loves us. But anyways, I just wanted to share that, and I may have more later, but I just feel like I've said what I need to say for right now. And if you're watching this, thank you for giving me the time of day, and I hope that's been a blessing to you. Have a good day. Bye.